Deep in the shadows, I know it's hard to put one foot in front of the other.
Hi guys, CeeChronicles here. Welcome to my channel. I post fragrance related content on this platform, and if you're new and you like that style of content, please consider subscribing and becoming part of the family. If you're already subscribed and continue to support this channel, thank you so much. Welcome to a Save or Splurge, but today I don't have my daughter as a blank slate. What I do is I drop a series every month where I compare inspirations to the DNAs that they're possibly going for, and then I just tell, you know, she gets to rate them, and then she tells you whether she would buy the real thing or whether she would rather save her money. So she's not here, she's on holiday, but I thought I'm going to do the video anyway, right? Because I pretty much have what to say here in this video, and I don't have a lot of fragrances in front of me. The very first one, guys, is going to be Salty Breeze from the House of Paris Corner. This one, to my nose, feels a lot like they were going for that wood sage and sea salt, right? And I do have a tester or a discovery, whatever it is, in here of the Jo Malone's, right? And my wood sage and sea salt is actually that one, because I made sure that I slip it out there so that we don't waste time. Let me just give you a close-up of those who want to see where it says wood, sage, and sea salt. Guys, I wish I could afford all these fragrances in big sizes, but what happens, is when you have a channel, you keep buying and buying fragrances. So when it comes to the actual fragrances, sometimes from the real houses, it becomes very difficult to have a decent collection. Now, Paris Corner nailed this Salty Breeze. Absolutely. If you love this DNA wood sage and sea salt, of course built around and the good thing about Paris Corner is they're writing notes there. So when I'm reading, it's not for the sake of just wasting time. It's to just confirm, what I'm getting versus what is on the note pyramid there. Okay, so do expect some sea salt and some sage. The hot notes of this are grapefruit and amberate, and the base is a seaweed. You are definitely going to get wafts of that grapefruit, right? You get the grapefruit, so there's going to be a citrus accord to this, but the general wrap-up of this fragrance is salt. Okay, so if you love the salty note, you're going to get that. So it does interpret this one to a T. To an extent, I would say, if you are not anti inspirations and stuff, there wouldn't be any need to, splurge by purchasing the actual wood sage and sea salt, because I can hardly make out the differences. So I just thought to clue you up, guys. If you're crazy about the Jo Malone wood sage and sea salt, and you're looking for an alternative or a fragrance that you can literally splash on around the house without worrying about how much it costs, then this one is the one that I would recommend. So in this particular case, right, going back to the style of this video, I would save, right? The next two fragrances that I have are going to be Athena from the House of Maison Alhambra, and of course the Burberry Goddess, right? The number of questions I'm getting about this particular fragrance, maybe let me take it out. The number of questions I'm getting about whether I am 100% sure Athena by Maison Alhambra is in the same vein as Burberry Goddess, guys, are alarming. I mean, honestly, I personally wouldn't come here and tell you something that is straight off, like completely, unrelated, right? A lot of you guys are going with the notes when it comes to this one and saying, oh no, it's, it's got notes listed that are suggestive of the fact that it's going to be in the line in the same vein as Olympia. Somebody else came with another fragrance. Guys, I have the two of them right next to each other here. Athena, to my nose, is going for Burberry Goddess. Unmistakable. That is the DNA. The only thing I can tell you is this one is a little bit amped up there on the lavender, where at some point is going to remind you of the YSL Lip Intense. That's the only thing I can say. But, given that I have this one as well, it does kind of yo-yo sometimes, giving me a vanilla and a lavender that kind of interprets as the lavender that I get in YSL Lip Intense. But it's not enough to say this is a Lip Intense smell alike. First minute you're going to spray this fragrance, you're just not going to know that they were going for Burberry Goddess. So guys, it's entirely up to you. I personally love Burberry Goddess, and let me show you what I mean by that. Okay, I ideally wouldn't buy Burberry Goddess in a mini because it's expensive anyway, right? I purchased mine for 600 Rand, right? This is South African money, and 5.99 is 600 Rand, which translates to about $33. I dropped $33 on a 10 ml of Burberry Goddess, and it was a fragrance that I wanted to buy either in 50 ml or in 100 ml, but I think the 30 ml was close to about $80, and then the 50 ml was, you know, over 100, and of course 100 ml was closing on close to 200. But I love the DNA so much, I had to buy it in a mini, and I said to myself, or rather I had to buy it in a travel size, and I said, soon as I get money, because what I do when it comes to fragrances, especially the, you know, some of these mainstream fragrances, the popular ones, is I save up for them because they cost a pretty penny. They're not like this. This you can just walk in and buy. You can just blind buy. And I know it's unbelievable that, you know, a house like Maison Alhambra would come up with, you know, a smeller like of Burberry Goddess, with the way most people, you know, were drawn to Burberry Goddess because of its perfection, because of that yummy vanilla note, the quintessential sweet girly scent. But indeed, guys, these two smell the same. So save your coins. If you can get Athena wherever you are, save your coins. I would definitely save when it comes to this. If I am to add the big bottle, because this is what I just do for myself, not for anything else, sometimes I would just buy the big bottle because I respect the brand enough to, you know, want to invest in a big bottle. So when it comes to Burberry Goddess, I probably would still buy Burberry Goddess, but that would not be because I feel this one is not doing it for me. Athena is absolutely in the same vein as this. So if you're looking for a smell alike, if you're looking for a fragrance that's going to give you a mental shortcut of this one, of what this one smells like, go for this one, guys, and thank me later. So in this case, I would save. In this case, I would certainly save, right? Next up is going to be these two. Ophidian Sweet Surrender by Paris Corner versus Billie Eilish, right? This was a little bit of a disappointment to me, or maybe a major disappointment, shall I say, because I wasn't expecting, well, I'm going to show you another one in a bit, that I was not expecting Paris Corner to drop, especially in one of these fancy bottles of theirs. I personally don't have a problem with the snakes, so I do find this particular bottle fancy, and I would love them to extend, you know, this collection to a point where in my library, I'm going to have them queued up there and the snakes really looking at me, because we live around snakes. I don't have a problem with snakes, but this is in the same vein as the Eilish. And for some of you guys, what you said in the comment section when I spoke about Sweet Surrender was you would rather buy the real thing, because you said the starting price, somebody said what the starting price was 79 euros. I don't know, guys. This fragrance was gifted to me, so I don't know what the starting price is. But regardless of this fragrance having been gifted to me in my country, the Paris Corners are generally fairly priced. So say I had to buy it with my money, it would probably be a fragrance that's around $30, maybe $40. So it's not so far from this Eilish, right? Not so far from the Eilish. However, right, I'm going to redeem it here by saying this lasts longer. So if you're going for this DNA, but you want the same version of it that's going to last longer, this is going to do it for you. This is a generous serving of that sugar note as well as the cocoa powder, and it's not restrained. It's not holding back. It's giving its all. Whereas in this, I do get the cocoa powder, the pink pepper, the rose, and you know, the citrus is there, but it does feel like the citrus is kind of doing a little bit too much to an extent of diluting the cocoa powder in this. So that's the only thing I can say about this. I'm not going to say save or splurge when it comes to this one. It's entirely up to taste, bottle, whatever. And this one is definitely a fragrance with more longevity than this. So depending on the country, I would say save. But for the comments that are coming saying the Paris Corners are expensive, then it's entirely up to you, because the Eilish in itself is not that expensive. I don't think you're going to part with more than $100 for the 100 ml. So yeah, that is what I can say about that. The next one is going to be from the House of Zamaya, and this, unfortunately, I do not have the bottle of, but I thought to clue you up, guys, to run and not walk, go get a fairy tale, right? This fragrance, just lent it in my collection, but I am impressed. This draws its inspiration from that Straight to Heaven by Kilian, but I'm not here to talk about Straight to Heaven by Kilian because I personally haven't put my nose on it. But guess what? Ajwa, when she was here, she came with Ursa from Tiziana Terenzi, and the similarities in here are uncanny. If you love Ursa, right, and of course if you love that Straight to Heaven, I'm going to say purchase this fragrance. Yes, at this point in time, in as much as it is a strong DNA, okay, it's still giving me a longevity that is not as pushy, as intense, right? That is not as enduring as Ursa, but it does give me that Ursa DNA. So if you love the Ursa DNA, go ahead and purchase this. Just to anchor what I'm saying here, when I looked at the Straight to Heaven, there was a lot of comparisons online, you know, Straight to Heaven with Ursa. So I'm not really going crazy here. I'm actually cluing you up on something that makes sense, that Straight to Heaven in itself does smell a lot like Ursa, or vice versa. I don't know which one came first. Now, to clue you up on the DNA, in case you've never smelled either, this one, the Ursa and Straight to Heaven, I'm going to say this is not the easy DNA. And as much as you see me spraying it like this is a very complex DNA. It may take a little bit of some getting used to, but there is something in here that is addictive. It does have the mossy note. It's a little green and stuff like that, but it's an acquired style of fragrance that when you interact with it the first time or so, you kind of get drawn to it. And I remember when I did review that Ursa on my second channel that Ajwa came with, I did put it in my to buy list, like my wish list, because it was certainly a fragrance that I was looking for to either get a mini of or to get the actual real thing, because it is a DNA that's really worth investing in. If you want something that's different, a complex style of fragrance, aromatic, but not the usual, you know, aromatic, but very boss chic about it, okay? And I know this DNA is marketed for men, but I'm saying if you're wearing it as a woman, it just gives that, you know, presence. It has presence. So certainly, guys, if you're looking for an alternative to Ursa or Straight to Heaven, please do get your nose on this. But if you find it strange after it lands, you know, or in your mailbox or something, just remember I cautioned you. It's not an easy DNA. It needs a little bit of time unless you are accustomed to a lot of fragrances. So in this particular case, I'm going to say safe. The next two are going to be Juicy Melange or Melange by Paris Corner versus this one, right? This is Mugler's Aura. Now, these two fragrances vibe are the same, and I am going to give it to Paris Corner for taking a little bit of what you get from this and putting it in here, right? So this is not going to be in the same vein as the other two that they gave us before, or Juvenile or whatever. This is going to be a fragrance, guys, that has the fruitiness. Yes, it does have the fruitiness, but there is a note there, a green note there, a mossy note there. Exactly what you get in Aura. To an extent, I would say maybe that is what they were going for. Or if you like Aura and you can't get it, or you can't afford it, or you just want a whiff of what Aura vibes like, get this fragrance. If you like this fragrance, then you can take a dive and get Aura. Aura, to my nose, is more intense, right? But the complexity in here is a match. It just feels like an extraordinary, you know, style of juice, where Paris Corner decided to not go with the norms. You know, they decided to break away from the other two that they gave us, which is Pear Potion and Mango Potion. This is nothing like that. This is a fruity scent that if you present to your to a young person, they might find a little bit complex and odd there, right? Because it is done in a not your traditional style of, you know, blending when it comes to fruity scents, where it's fruity, it's girly, it's fufulala, it's not like that. This is fruity, but it does have that mossy note, okay, that is and it does have that aromatic note that can be a little bit strange there, and it does vibe green. So I feel this may not be 100, but if I should put a percentage, I'm going to say this is 80% what I get in here. So in this case, I would say safe. Right? But then again, going back to Paris Corner, it depends on where you are located. Remember, I did say that location matters, because some people are saying these Paris Corners are very expensive. But I remember buying my Mango Punch and Pear Potion for about $18 each, you know, so I wouldn't personally call that expensive. So I would assume that this is probably going to go for the same starting price in my country, that is if you're in South Africa and stuff. But internationally, if it's going for maybe more or less the same price and you're crazy about this, then maybe you want to, you know, not save, you want to splurge. Now the last one, because remember I told you that we do a host of these when Maima is there, because she is, you know, that knows that is sometimes, you know, smelling these for the first time, and she's like, oh my god, right? So I have Ophidian Black Cherry here. The inside of the top here just came out with the actual top, so this is what I'm left with, but it's quite repairable. So I'm just explaining to you so that if it's wobbling or something like that, it doesn't bother you. Okay, Ophidian Black Cherry from the House of Paris Corner. And this fragrance, guys, is one of those fragrances that Had Paris Corner dropped this maybe 3-4 years ago, I would have been over the roof. I would literally take a ladder and climb over my roof and say, yeah, because you know what? I'm living in construction. I've been living in construction for years now. You'll see it on my second channel when I drop, the construction videos. I've been living in construction for years. So I would have literally gone on my trusses, all right, on my roofing trusses and said, yeah, because this does smell a lot like that lost cherry. And I don't know why possibly they had to drop it this late, because there are some DNAs that would have been washed up in the market to an extent that you feel, was it really necessary to actually drop that DNA? So Ophidian Black Cherry unfortunately does vibe the same way as Lost Cherry, and a lot of you guys have, picked up on similarities with this one, all right, with the Kayali's La First Burning Cherry. The starting price for both those fragrances would pretty much be the same, so it's going to be according to where you are, preference and stuff, whether you like the house of Kayali. But let me say this one quickly. Okay, had to bring this one because it has gone around as, oh no, it's a La First Burning Cherry. I think they could have actually been going for Tom Ford's Cherry Smoke in this, legit. I do get like an insincere chord in this, and in my own rationalization, I do feel as though they probably could have been going for that cherry smoke instead of the Lost Cherry. But because the cherry smoke is borderline borrowing from Lost Cherry, and the other one that came after that was cherry, whatever it was, I can't remember, cherry something. It's borderline in the middle there, like it being the heart of the DNA. A lot of people may find this just giving them the Lost Cherry DNA to an extent of not being able to push and extend to get that cherry smoke. So I personally think this could be in the same vein as cherry smoke than it is mostly to do with La First Burning Cherry or that Lost Cherry. So, and why I'm saying I think is because it's still new. I want this one to macerate. I want to get a little vial of cherry smoke and then possibly come here and tell you affirmatively whether I am still getting La First Burning Cherry or I'm getting cherry. Nonetheless, okay, forget about me owning it and it coming late or whatever. Is it a good DNA? Absolutely. I think this is a good DNA, beautiful DNA. I think they nailed this DNA. I just am taking away those points for bringing it a little bit too late, where I'm saying, Paris Corner, where were you? You should have just, made the most of this DNA when everybody was like going crazy about it. So in this case, guys, if it sticks to what a lot of you are getting, which is this La First Burning Cherry, then I'm going to say possibly maybe go for this one, because Kayali's are over 100, and this, even if it's $70 or it's $50, it's still affordable. So I would save in this case. So most of them have been about saving actually here, and this is not biased. This is why I said I usually like to use Mima as a blank slate, because she makes it very easy, because she doesn't know the prices here. So she would just simply come and pass off sometimes a $200 fragrance as a cheap fragrance, and vice versa and all that. So with me here, I did the video because I had to drop it. It's a series that we always drop, and I thought, okay, I'm just going to do it on my own. If you want decants of these fragrances, guys, you can purchase decants at decantboutique.com. Say for instance, you are not sure whether you want to go for the Sweet Surrender in its fullness, you can purchase it as a decant. Decant Boutique also sells original fragrances like this, so you can actually test some of the original fragrances, that are non-Middle Eastern, and then maybe see whether you love the DNA enough to either purchase the real thing or actually go for the Middle Eastern version of it. So it is entirely up to you. I'm going to drop Decant Boutique's website in the comment section, and there is an added bonus to shopping on that. You get a 10% discount when you use the code CC10 at the end of your purchase. And of course, that makes the shopping even interesting. CeeChronicles is my name. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's meet in the comment section where we discuss more about fragrances. Remember to turn on post notifications, guys. That way you get to be notified anytime I upload a video. Like and share this one, and remember that smelling good is a form of good manners. Cheers.